Yo, Archdemon, what's up, man? I'll be right with you guys. Yo, welcome in, Captain's Crew. Welcome in. I am so sorry I missed yesterday's stream. We had a little bit of some personal stuff come up, so I actually didn't even get home last night until like 9:30. So, but we're home now. We're home now. We're gonna have a pretty interesting stream. Yo, the assassin, welcome in, broski. How are we, fam? How are we? We've got a little bit of an interesting stream today. We're going to be, and I'm going to pull up my YouTube because I think I'm probably going to end up getting some YouTube chats today. Doing good. How about you, man? I'm doing great. I'm just doing great. I just got home, ready to go with this new Diablo 4 season. We're gonna have a lot of fun with it. We are going to watch the campfire chat to start, and then we're going to get into some gameplay. So if you guys follow me on Twitter, I did like post the, hey, what should I play thing. And basically the two were, yo, Raging, what's up, broski? The two were Rogue and Necromancer. So, Rogue got first place, so we're gonna play Rogue this season. So I'm not gonna be playing Sork, which is gonna be a little bit different than everything else. I did make my Rogue last night. I did get a feel for kind of like what the season's gonna look like and all that stuff. But the biggest news is that basically Blizzard they're a bunch of bitches, and they reverted basically all their changes. So. Apparently they said, oh, sorry, we didn't know this was going to piss everybody off. Yo, Jenny Morgan, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate you. We're going to, I'm going to pull up my YouTube now, I think, because I think we're probably going to end up with a couple. Thank you so much for the follow. With a couple questions on YouTube. So I've got it pulled up. Hope you're doing well. I am doing absolutely fantastic. So the campfire chat. Okay, so just so you guys know, the campfire chat, they basically like, holy shit, we pissed off the whole fucking community. So they're doing, they did like an emergency campfire or whatever chat. Well, most of us are at work, so I figured, well, we'll just watch it tonight on stream because I couldn't watch it while I was at work. So this will be blind reaction, total blind reaction. I'm going to record it and I'm going to put it on a YouTube as a secondary video. Just for you guys to see and watch and whatever. Just in case, I'll probably like clip it down. I'll probably like spend some time on this one. So we're gonna get right to it. We're not gonna go crazy or anything like that. We're gonna get right to it. I have already pulled it up. Let's see if it's. There we go. Okay, cool. All right, and my hand cam is. So you guys will basically get to watch me watch this, and we can discuss the things that they do. I think it's honestly just knowing Blizzard, it's probably going to be some bullshit. So just FYI. Jenny, that's really rude etiquette, by the way. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yo, Evaleska, what is up, Evo? How are we? All right, we're gonna so I think this is gonna be like an hour long. I think it was an hour and a half show. They had like a 30-minute starting soon, which is, I feel like that's way too long. What's up? What's up, Evil? How are we? Tired from watching He Knows. I bet. How are you? I'm doing very well. I am doing very well. Okay, sorry, Jenny. I've already given you a warning. Oh my gosh, I really hate that. I really do hate doing that. But it's very disgusting and rude to come into somebody's channel like that and do something like that. If you can't read my tweet, we're just gonna say this right now. There were specific instructions in my tweet. And literally all of you fucking GFX artists are a bunch of fucking idiots. There's like 5 of you guys that listen to the tweet, and I've looked at the people that have, and I'm actually in discussion with some of the GFX artists that, yeah, they're like, oh, I saw your tweet. Yeah, did you actually read it? Did you actually read the tweet? Because apparently you fucking didn't. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. It makes me so mad. All right. It should be starting any moment soon. All right. Oh yeah. Intense violence and maturity. Is this like the opening video to?
I am writing.
Yeah. I just timed her out, so hopefully she'll stop being that way.
From Sanctuary, a new festering curse now spreads its corruption.
Can you guys hear it?
The land.
Is it muted or anything?
More malignant than I could have imagined. I have found
you can hear it, right, Evil? You can hear the video?
To rip the dark power of these monsters from their very core and turn it to our advantage.
Yeah, they've been all in my Discord today. Holy shit, you have no idea.
But I cannot do this alone. My allies have fallen. My strength is dwindling. The malignant are relentless and without mercy. I need help. I need you.
This is that's really cool.
Hello, Diablo community. Welcome to another Diablo 4 Campfire Chat. My name is Adam Fletcher. I am the Associate Director of Community here for Diablo. I'm joined here by Joe Shelley, Game Director of Diablo 4, and Mr. Joe Pipora, the Associate Game Director for Diablo 4.
Well, hopefully I can stay out of these guys' way.
About today. Obviously, we have this Campfire Chat because we do want to talk about the patch that just released this.
Yeah,
past
that you
week,
guys shit on us
which is
with.
patch 110. We've seen a
They're
ton
like,
of
yeah,
feedback.
we fucked up.
We've
We
heard
know.
a lot of feedback. And
We know.
so we do want to go
Yeah,
through,
lots of feedback.
You know,
We
a
have
lot
no
of
shit.
the points of feedback that we've been hearing, and at the same
Yeah,
time, the patch
feedback is you
itself.
fucking suck.
The biggest thing that, you know, to kind of like kick us off here, I think we want to, you know, obviously acknowledge everyone's feedback in regards to
Apologize?
reducing player power. We know it is bad. We know it is not fun, and it's something that, you know, we ourselves know that it's not the greatest play experience for players. We do want to explain why we ended up doing it within the actual patch. And then, of course, we also want to talk about
Wow,
what we were trying
he
to achieve,
apologized.
specifically with this patch and with the changes that players ended up seeing. And then separately, we do want to also talk about how we don't plan on doing a patch like this ever again. We have most definitely heard the feedback from
we
the
are
players
sorry.
on
We
that
will
front.
never do that
And
again.
we do want to talk a little bit about
Holy
our
shit.
philosophy, our own internal statements that we're setting for ourselves for future updates for the game itself. And then, of course, we do want to also talk about how we can talk better and communicate with the community better in regards to patches and updates coming to the game and what we can do to improve on that. So I know that the first thing we do want to talk about, though, as I said, was talking about, you know, why we ended up doing this in this patch. And I do want to throw it over to Mr. Joe Pipor over here to talk a little bit.
I'm just gonna put my.
Sure. So I know that we've talked on stream before about our intentions for Diablo 4 being a game about choice, and part of that is ensuring that the various class options feel that they've got a place
thank
in
God.
the meta experience, and that kind of goes to some of the changes we made in 1.1. Now, Adam already called out that we've heard the feedback with regard to the patch. And we know that reducing player power is never a good experience in general. And I want to talk through like sort of some of the things that.
Yeah, because everybody gets fucking. Okay, all right. Reducing player power is, bro. Never mind.
Right. So, a few of the really big changes that were made as part of 1.1. First, really, I guess to cooldown reduction. We changed the amount of CDR that players can get as part of in the affix ranges of items that are rolling.
You literally nerfed everything.
CDR is one of the, if not the most powerful stat in many ways in Diablo 4. And the reason for it is obvious.
Other than,
you're
like,
able to get CDR
vulnerability?
to a certain point, and using certain class mechanisms, you're able to get effectively like instantaneous like active skills. So, like, you know, that can give you like unlimited resource, it can give you unlimited movement speed, give you unlimited damage resist, and it begins to dwarf the effectiveness of other options when you can start trying to take these things into account. Now, we know that blasting through content with those things is really fun, so it feels really, really painful to have to take some of those things away.
Okay, wait, okay. All right, so one of the biggest things about the patch notes, just the FYI, this is my opinion. The thing about the patch notes and nerfing everything and slowing us down, that is a upper management financial decision. This is not like these guys that are sitting here are peons to the people that I'm talking about making these decisions. So basically slowing the game down means we have to play longer to meet the goals that we have set for the season. Therefore, more streamability, more blah, 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 blah. But if you make it too annoying, then nobody plays the game. So just FYI, it was a pure financial trying to get longevity, not anything that these guys, everything this guy's probably about to say is just, I mean, probably not lies, but it's bullshit.
And we certainly don't relish the idea. That was the original thinking for these sorts of bits.
You don't relish the idea of nerfing everything? Bro, that's what these guys have been doing for like ever. In every game they've ever made, just FYI. Not trying to be negative, but that's all they do is nerf, 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 nerf.
One of the reasons why we think that these builds are very prevalent at the moment is based upon like the nature of some of the end-game content we have in Diablo 4. In particular, thinking about Nightmare Dungeons, especially. the reality is that Nightmare Dungeons are dramatically overtuned from where they actually need to be based upon the place they fill in the role they fill in the game itself.
Define
So
overtuned,
tier
dude.
100 Nightmare Dungeons are excruciatingly difficult for most players most classes to be able to actually get.
Then why the
through.
fuck did you
And
nerf?
as a result, it begins to kind of winnow the opportunities and options that players have when they begin to engage with content at that tier, such that you really do you need to lean on very, very specific builds, very specific setups, with access to things like near instantaneous cooldowns for some skills, in an effort to actually like make it through those spaces. And that was never really the intent of that content. And we see that, right? Players are using Nightmare Dungeons as ways to kind of like level up their glyphs, ways for them to gain experience and loot as they're progressing up. It's largely like a level up system you're progressing with once you get into world tiers 3 and 4. But they've taken on an outsized role as sort of this new end game chase opportunity for players who are looking to really challenge themselves. And we love that we want that kind of content and want that experience for those players. And we feel like we have done a reasonably good job of that with Uber Lilith in the game. But we don't feel that like tier 100 Nightmare Dungeons fulfill the same role at all. Just the nature of the content type doesn't actually work well as that kind of pushing opportunity. So one thing we actually plan on doing, and we'd hope to get out as part of this.
I just
release
realized that I
very,
matched
very,
them.
very soon. Is we're making a reduction in the difficulty of some aspects of Nightmare Dungeons.
How funny
to
is
kind
that,
of
chat?
retune some things.
Is that funny?
And the goal here is to say that, we think that
I did not do that on
where you are with,
purpose.
a Nightmare
I always
Dungeon
wear a
tier
black shirt.
70, that's kind of where we actually want the difficulty to be for a tier 100 as players are going through the experience. So there's still a thing to push for, but it's more reasonable. And as part of this exchange, we know that players really like kind of blasting and pushing hard for these sorts of things. They feel like big achievements. We are going to be looking at creating a new content type, a new end game content type that's going to be more directly meant to address those sorts of players and give people more things to chase. That's part of the commitment to the live services, to make sure that we're always adding new things like this for players to go and try to kind of chase after, to kind of maximize and use their builds in fun and interesting ways. So that's another really.
So you nerfed everything, so
next,
we
made
can.
a number of changes to the to.
So you nerfed everything, so we can experiment with all the builds. What? What? Kind of bullshit? The fuck? Bullshit? Bullshit?
Sorceress skill,
Golly.
sorceress builds in general. They sort of ended up having a net impact of like really reducing their effectiveness with some of their most powerful builds at the moment. And the goal at the time was to try to bring their builds back in line with one another so that we could start trying to bring everything
Okay,
up
dude, we
at once,
understand
opposed
the
to
point
having
of
them stay where they
nerfing
are.
builds.
And this actually leads to a really good conversation about the idea of balance in general. I said before that Diablo
Archdemon
4's
TV
game
says,
is about
I
choice.
heard
That
it's
remains
not
our-
mildly
our-
nerfed
our
either.
goal.
It's
that's
heavy.
That's our guiding light. We're trying to make decisions on
Yeah.
balance and design in general.
They fucked it. They fucked everything.
And sometimes we don't always get it quite right. And I think we
Like
see that with
25,
some builds that
50% in some
performing
cases,
well,
75,
just don't have
80%
the right interaction
reduction
with
in
the
some
content and
stats.
skills that you actually really want to use to get through the game. This is an example of like when
They
we're
should have put
thinking
those labels
about
over their heads.
Our goals in terms of creating this balanced experience where there's lots of interesting
I'm not
choices
moving
for players
my
to engage with.
thing again.
We cannot make balance decisions without kind of accounting for the way that players are going to feel about those things who are playing those classes. Like if our goal is to create an ultimately balanced experience, without regard for how much fun the player's having as part of that exchange, that's ultimately that would be like a failure on our part to not kind of think about things. So we have plans that I know that we're going to talk about a little bit later to kind of address this more clearly. But understand that we've heard this, and we have plans in the very near future to address these sorts of things. Another bit that
So
speaks to
this
this is
gonna nerf everything
change that
again?
was
I'm
made
so
for
confused what you're trying to
vulnerable
tell me, dude.
I think that there are a lot of players in the community who like kind of dove deep into a lot of our systems in Diablo 4 and kind of see that vulnerable damage is a really outsized role that it plays in terms
Vulnerable
of a lot of
damage.
build making.
Okay, so just FYI for those of you guys that haven't like done like all the theory crafting and stats, you guys don't pay attention to that sort of stuff. Basically, vulnerability was like the main stat. Like cooldown reduction, which he's already talked about, and vulnerability, like that was Sork right there. Cooldown reduction, vulnerability, and then like skill stats on gear. fuck everything else because that's all you need. Right? So, and apparently that's vulnerability was a big thing for barbarians too. I don't know about barbarians. I just know about sword because that's the one that I've actually dug into so far. And they totally fucked it. Like gear that had 40% vulnerability had like 7 to 10 after. Like they fucked it 75%. So massive reduction.
To the point where it feels, you'll get to certain parts of content, and creatures sort of need to be vulnerable in order for you to feel that you need to that you can damage them. This is something that we're very aware of, and we made a reduction as part of the 1.1 build that reduced player damage in general, because most players rely on many builds, I should say, rely on vulnerable damage to deal to kind of spike. In
I think Hammer of the Ancients. I think there was a rogue builder too.
This is
the Necrospear.
Vulnerable damage is far more potent right now than we actually want it to be in general across the game. I think I've talked about this before. And we need to make a number of, we need to kind of bring these things back in line. But this is a more complicated conversation than simply just saying we can take a, bonus damage to vulnerable creatures number and reduce it by 40% in terms of the amount of damage you can accrue across different sources. And have that be the way that we solve this problem. Really, I think we all know that the ultimate problem with damage to vulnerable creatures, the fact is multiplicative stacking on top of the base vulnerable damage, which is already multiplicative on its own.
That's true.
Like this is the reason why the stat plays such an outsized role in a lot of player builds. We're going to need to
the multiplicative. Yes, I agree.
But we can't do that
without
making a number of other adjustments to critical strike damage, the way that overpower damage is both calculated and dealt to creatures, and the availability of these things across various builds. There's lots of builds that rely on vulnerable, and they're balanced around the idea that the damage is also multiplicative. So a number of their balance and tuning changes will need to be made.
That's how to be able to bring this is another theory crafting thing again. So a big thing, like additive versus multiplicative, and when we get to the gameplay, I'll show you guys if you guys remind me. If you the multiplicative stats are actually the ones that you want to run after, and those are the ones that you want to stack because those are the ones that are just going to exponentially amplify versus additive stat. You're just adding damage, but then everything basically gets added stats are good too because things get added up and then things get stacked on the multiplicative stats get stacked on top of it, and that's how it blooms, if that's what you want to call it. But anyway,
bring vulnerable back in line with some of the other options we have out there. So this is how we're kind of thinking about these things moving forward. We want to start trying to be a little more inclusive of all of these decisions when we begin considering which of these balance adjustments we want to make, rather than being in this iterative place where we're making small adjustments to a number of different things along the way with an end goal in mind of where we actually eventually want to be. We want to be trying to consider what the experience is going to be like from moment to moment, rather from update to update and release to release, to get things in a better spot. So while we do believe that having our season roll gives us the opportunity to kind of reset our meta and change a lot of things, that obviously has an impact on eternal players, the way that they kind of perceive the characters they're still playing in that space, and it can be disruptive for players who found a particular playstyle that they're really excited about. So so I know that Joe, you're going to talk about some of these things in a minute. So this is an awkward handoff, but I just want to make it right. It's a very awkward handoff. Okay. I'm sorry, but I want
awkward turtle.
We do hear the things that they're saying. We do plan on making changes in the near future, and just kind of thinking philosophically about how we want to address these things moving forward.
Okay, so I will say there's one big complaint that I have about Diablo 4 right now, and there's so many constant changes that last season, for example, we got season 0. I played a spec for 2 weeks. It got nerfed. I had to reinvent the wheel. I played that spec for 2 weeks. It got nerfed. So I had to spend 6 hours at that point respecking and regearing my whole fucking Sork, which I played that spec for 2 weeks, and they nerfed it again. I finally said, fuck it, I'm done with the season. So if you keep nerfing things and you keep fucking things up, Blizzard, please, if you're listening. Blizzard, if you are listening, if you keep nerfing shit and you make we want constant change. We do. We want constant change. But if you just do nothing but nerf the things that are at the top, because that's what we're going to switch to, you're gonna nerf people out of the fucking game. People are not gonna want to play, or they will stop playing for a season or two, and then they might come back. Maybe. I'm just saying. Okay, I'm just saying.
And with that, I guess Joe, would you like to share about your thinking?
Yeah. So, I think it's a great point, a great lead in here. We want, as Adam mentioned, we want to talk about. We kind of talked a little bit about how we got here. We want to talk about what we're going to do about that. I mean, I think one of the really good points you made is like, vulnerable is, for example, vulnerable is like a must-take stat, right? And it would be better if it wasn't a
I agree.
must-take stat.
But more of a build option.
The game
I
will
like
be
Skinny
when
Joe
that's-
better than
But if along the way
Muscular
to get
Joe.
to that, the game is less fun, then we're not fulfilling our obligation to players, right?
That's right.
So I want to talk about our mission statement for the live game, and I think we have yeah, perfect. So there are four parts to this. We're going to start with the first part. We want the live game to always have a wide variety of viable builds to discover, to put together, to acquire the items for, and to optimize across all 5 of our classes. Second point, every season should introduce new items and powers that keep the game fresh and increase build variety. Moving on to the third point, the live game should also have continually evolving end game content. And that content needs to have high monster density for powerful builds to mow down, and it needs to have activities that challenge your build. And, you were just talking about how while Nightmare Dungeons...
make the game more fun for players. Holy fuck, I like this, Joe. What's them in for?
While Nightmare Dungeons are technically challenging your build, they're challenging your build in some ways that are not very fun, right?
Yep.
Like being CC'd all the time.
Yes, that's correct. Going
And-
through 20 tiers of Nightmare Dungeons where every monster can one-shot you, and then if you get clipped by one bit of chill, you're permanently snared, right? Or not completely frozen. Like these are not things that the Nightmare Dungeons system is doing particularly well right now in terms of making challenging content.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it's so important, your call out that we plan to introduce additional content that fulfills that part of the mission statement to challenge your builds. If we can go back to the screen, I got kind of sidetracked, but I think it was really important. And of course, ultimately what we're trying to do is make the game more fun for players, right? Players are at the heart of everything that we're doing. And if the game is not more fun for players, and we're not
gonna
making the
play,
game-
right.
If players can't believe that
I literally
as the
just said
game
this.
evolves, it will get more fun, then we're not accomplishing our goals either, right? And so the other point I want to go to here is a change that, Adam was talking about. How do we make sure that
Give this man some water.
the next time we do a patch, we don't have...
F7 Queen of Hearts. What's up, F7 Queen of
And
Hearts?
so I want to talk about we call it a key process improvement. That's like a weird jargon term. A change that we're making that will help us avoid this situation. So I think we have a slide for this. When we make, and this goes, again, this is right along what you were saying here. When we make changes to increase build diversity, our goal, going back to the mission statement, is we want to have a wide variety of viable builds, right? So when we make changes that have the ultimate aim of increasing build diversity, we need to pair those changes with compelling alternatives. And that means that there are some builds that'll be overpowered, and we can't nerf those overpowered builds without providing compelling alternatives for players to pursue.
That's right. It means that things like when we identify that there are...
I literally just said that, except-
meta builds or stats.
Except don't fucking keep doing it mid-fucking season. Damn. Do it like a week before the end of the season or some shit. Or wait till the day before a season starts and then nerf the fucking build. Don't Unless the build is so fucking overpowered that that's the only class you can, like... I think this is what's probably going to irritate me for the first, like, 3 to 4 seasons of this, is they're going to continue to nerf builds mid-season, and I'm going to be playing those builds, and I'm going to get so irritated, I'm going to feel like I'm wasting my time, and I'm not going to play Diablo 4 anymore. Like, that is like, I hate to say that, like, I want change. I do want change. I want to see constant updates. I want to see, but like, this is not Fortnite. This is not, like, they can't just change the weapons mid-season, or, you know, there's no, you know, like, weapon, you can't do something like that. So, They need to, if they're going to totally destroy builds, they need to destroy them just before the next season, and not like 2 weeks in or a month in after somebody's already solidified their, like, there's already people, bro, I haven't even played this game yet. I haven't even played this season yet for more than like a half hour. I got home so late last night that I could not watch it, or I could not play it. So I don't really know, like, I haven't dug into the season. I've only looked at the patch notes, right? But and there's already people that are like in the 60s and pushing 70 now. Like, before I even get to play in the game, or by the end of the weekend, there's going to be people in like World Tier 4 and closing in on level 100. Like, I get that. I'm not one of those guys. That is perfectly fine, okay? But it is going to take me two weeks to a month to get to max level and complete content, even though I stream and play video games all the time, right? But if I'm solidified into a build 2 weeks into the season, and then they nerf the absolute shit out of it, and I have to reinvent my character, sure, that's going to slow me down. I get it. It's going to slow me down. But if you continuously do that over and over and over again, I swear I'm not going to play this game, and other people are not going to play this game. So do not destroy fucking build after, or make a rule within the community that if you nerf the top build for a class, you cannot nerf the second one for the rest of the season. It has to stay exactly the same, and don't fucking take gear out of the game. Like, I'm gonna rant about this. Like, this is gonna be some real shit, okay? Like, if you're nerfing the top build after I have friends of mine that rolled a Sork at the start of season, we're gonna call it season 0, okay? They rolled a Sork with me. The build got nerfed, so they re-rolled to the next build. They just reinvented the character. They didn't, like, actually make a new character. They kept the Sork at the same level. They just fixed the gear. They did the same thing that I did. Then on the second nerf, they were like, fuck this, I'm not playing Sork anymore. I'm going to a different class, so they stopped fucking nerfing me. And I think they switched to, like, Druid or Barbarian. And then that spec got 2 weeks later, that spec, like, you are going to kill your player base if you continuously do stupid shit like that. Nerfs are fine, buffs are fine, but if you're constantly buffing and nerfing mid-season and you kill builds, like, if people have to get off, you know, on a Sunday night and they can't get back on until like Tuesday morning, and you nerf the shit out of their build and they were right there at level 100 Pinnacle Uber Lilith, you nerf their build and now they can't even come close, people are going to quit playing the game. So quit doing that shit. All right, we're going to continue.
Like, really
Rant
powerful
over.
within you know, preseason or within a season. That until we have created those other options and redesigned things around the nature of these and made sure that we've lifted up other options and brought everything in line, you know, we're not going to move on those changes. You know, there's going to be always situations where there are extraordinary outliers, you know, that we're going to want. They're usually relying on, like, actual bugs that we need to address. But when it comes to, like, trying to bring things back in line with one another, we want to be able to make sure that we're doing those, when we make those decisions, we have a bevy of other options and alternatives available for players to engage with at the same time. So if players see it as taking, like, a toy away, that we're giving lots of other toys or lifting up other toys, you know, to make them more viable as part of the exchange.
Yeah, and that those toys are equally exciting.
Yes.
So let's go to the second point of this.
Yeah, but
here.
you just can't keep doing that.
When we make changes like this, it's important for us to make them at predictable times. And Adam's going to talk a little bit more about our communication strategy here in a bit. The start of a season is an especially good time for meta changes to happen. Because there's a big refresh, everyone is rolling new characters, and there's new seasonal content.
Yes.
And changes like that will also appear in Eternal at the same time. And the third point here, as Joe alluded to, there are certain situations. We saw a case where we had a skill that could do 10 to the 37 damage. In cases like that where the damage is literally breaking the game or
Okay. In that
crashing
case,
servers,
it needs a nerf.
we'll still react to those situations. But that doesn't change the first point here in terms of allowing builds to be overpowered. And I think, one of the things that's important for to recognize and state is that ultimately ARPGs, or some people call them hack and slash games, are about power fantasy, right? And they're about us inviting players to break the game to some extent, not to crash. There are lots of ways to interpret the word break, but and find fun toys that we've made, do crazy things with them, and we need to make sure that we aren't trying to punish players for doing that, because ultimately that's the playground we built. That's we built a game that's go find crazy stuff, and we need to make sure that when players take that invitation, that we're not punishing them for that.
That's right. Yeah, and I know.
I like this
when
Joe
we're
Shelley
talking
guy.
about at least the Nightmare Dungeon stuff beforehand, and we can go into it in a little bit more detail once we get to the stuff that might be coming down the pipe here. The one thing I think that I wanted to really highlight on was, obviously we did this patch and we made these changes and we brought character power down, player power down essentially.
What's up, Clyde?
In itself was also supposed to be paired with these Nightmare Dungeon changes that where Joe was actually talking about earlier, and it's something that we've learned throughout this process is, as you guys were talking about, that we have ultimate visions for something that is further down the line, and doing that all together at once during those
probably
moments,
should
as
start
opposed
spilling
to,
some of those guts,
doing
by the
them
way.
over time and whatnot just leads to a better experience overall for players, and that's something that we most definitely will be doing as we build out future updates and patches and so forth. Of course, a key component to this is how we communicate to players, and there is been a lot of feedback in regards to hey, it would have been great if we knew some of these changes were coming down the pipe, and it's a hefty amount of patch notes. We could have digested this over a few days beforehand or a week beforehand. So one thing we do want to commit to right now is that we do plan on going forward always providing patch notes and communicating these patch notes through
Clear,
streams like this,
concise
Campfire,
patch notes,
chats,
please.
or developer
Don't
update live
shadow
streams,
nerf something, you
beforehand,
motherfuckers.
Well beforehand, at least a week before the actual update hits. In no matter state, because I know sometimes
before
we're
the
still,
update, they're going to
trying
provide
maybe
patch
potentially
notes.
squeeze in a few different
Okay,
things.
providing patch notes, or at least the things that are guaranteed prior to the game. Oh, that would be awesome. That would be actually awesome. That would be awesome. Having the information ahead of time so you can pre-prepare or mentally prepare, even for the common person that's only going to play 4 to 5 hours a week, or maybe an hour or two a night. Total W. Total fucking W.
Into patch notes and stuff like that up until the last second, just on the nature of production of how we are. But I will say we do plan on sharing those no matter what to the community going forward, from here on out through a stream or written through blog or something like that beforehand, before players can actually get into game and actually try it out on their end. So at least we can hear feedback and you guys can actually digest the information beforehand. In fact, we do actually have, of course, future updates here that we do want to talk about here really quickly.
Okay.
But one thing that we will commit to right now is that next Friday, so exactly 1 week from now, we'll be back on a live stream because we will start with that live stream. Where
So we can
will
do
be
this every
talking about
Friday.
Our next patch that will be coming to Diablo 4. We'll talk a little bit about some of the details here, but we'll go into more detail next Friday specifically.
I just swear to God, if you guys say we're nerfing every fucking class, I'm going to be pissed. What's up, Anna?
With everyone beforehand, so everyone has a better expectation of what they're going to be seeing in the actual update, and they can talk to us through chat, through devs, through social media, through Reddit, through our forums, etc. beforehand, before the actual patch hits. So we will get times and remind everyone, of course, throughout the week that we will have another campfire chat to talk about patch 111, since we just shipped 110, 111.
Okay.
But we do want to talk a little bit about patch 111 today.
I'm
just
doing well,
because
Anna.
there
How are you?
Some items that we
poppin'.
are aware of that we know will be of interest.
We're currently
to
watching the
players
campfire chat
specifically,
from earlier
when
today.
it comes to things
It's
that
actually
they've been
pretty-
asking for,
pretty good.
and at least it gives you guys a little bit of an early preview of some stuff that's coming down the road. I think one big thing that everyone has been kind of talking about as of late from this current patch is like some of the sorcerer and barbarian items. And
Oh,
stuff
thank
like
you for that follow.
and,
Appreciate you.
And how we've obviously tuned a lot of classes down, and there's questions of like, hey, is there any changes in the future for those two?
Yeah, we're taking a long
Thank you for
look
that
at
follow.
a lot of the sorceress and barbarian aspects that aren't being utilized very well right now, and trying to lift a lot of those back up. So there's going to be a wide range of legendary power and unique item improvements for these two classes in particular. We're taking a look at a lot of things, but we're really honing in specifically on sorceress first. And then,
Cool. Well, we're not
also
playing
getting a lot of
Sorceress.
Barbarian updates in there at the same time.
Yay,
This
we're
is-
not
again,
playing
this is
Barb
for
this season. Fuck yeah.
1.1.
Correct.
So the very next patch and cycle.
Yeah, and we expect that patch. Obviously, if we're having a live stream now, next Friday, we expect that patch here in the next couple weeks or so. So at least you guys can get an early preview on it.
Yeah, and on that Friday, we'll be talking a lot about the specifics of all of those changes and kind of hearing what the community says.
Yep.
It feels like
In fact, the
patch notes meeting.
the
I like
Nightmare
it.
Dungeon items that we were just talking about just now. That's actually we're planning on actually rolling that out in a hotfix specifically, and that is something that we actually plan on rolling out later today. So we'll have
okay,
more
cool.
information on the Nightmare Dungeon.
So don't be
changes
playing
that
a
will
hardcore character today,
that we
chat.
talked about earlier. That will be coming
Don't
out
play
later
a
today
hardcore
on
character.
Hotfix.
Don't do it.
Another big thing that we've talked about in patch notes, because we've toned it down, and now we're kind of and we had mentioned that to players that we did plan on bringing it back up. It is monster density in Nightmare Dungeons and Helltide. So
I like it when there's
I know
a
that you
shitload
guys
of
had some
monsters.
plans and so forth related to that.
Yeah, so
It feels good.
going back to the mission statement I mentioned earlier, a key part of the live game is having high density areas for players to mow
Is
down,
there
right?
any positives coming out of this? Mad is asking if any positives coming out of it. If they're getting blasted everywhere. I think right now, I have not previewed this. I did not watch this live. This is literally like a live reaction. So I don't know what everything, but basically they started the whole thing with, "We're sorry, we won't do that again, we promise." Basically, they're bending over and giving us everything, with even more promises in the future that, there are going to be patches. They are going to fix things. So far it's positive. So far. So like my biggest complaint, Matt, has been don't continuously nerf the top builds every fucking week, because I'm going to switch to the top build. That's what's going to happen. If the Sork has 3 S tiers, I'm playing the number 1. I don't give a fuck if it's fun or not. It's going to be fun killing shit, right? Will you nerf it all the way down to an F tier? I'm picking the next S tier, man. You nerf that one, then I've spent basically 2 days, right? Every time you have to switch a build, you have to totally redo all your gear and think about all your skill points and all your everything. And it takes like 3 to 4, maybe even 6 hours just to get everything. You might even have to go out and farm something. So if you can continuously nerf builds, like I was saying earlier, that I have friends that started with Sork The build that we started with got nerfed, so we all switched to the next build for Sork. It got nerfed, so I switched to the third one. They re-rolled characters to Barb and Druid. Then those builds got nerfed and they quit the season. Because they kept fucking nerfing shit. They're gonna kill their player base. That's the only thing that is the biggest complaint that I have right now, is if they continuously to just shit on the top build. Yo, bro, didn't you fucking know? Unless you played Hammer, if you played Whirlwind, you got shit on. But if you played Hammer of the Ancients, you actually did. You actually had a good solid switch. But I had to basically spend multiple Sundays redoing my gear because they kept nerfing my build. And finally, like the final build that I had was like I called it Telestomp. I teleport to a bunch of mobs, they group up, I Frost Nova, teleport to the next patch. And it got nerfed at the very end. That last patch just totally fucked it. Yeah, see there you go. So you probably got nerfed 3. You had to basically re-roll 4 characters. In season 0, you got nerfed twice on Sork, re-rolled to Barb, got nerfed and then switched to Hoda. Like, you should. I feel you, bro. I'm so sorry that happened, but I feel you. But like so far, basically, it's all positive. Yeah, you got crushed in season 0. Like, I'm surprised you're even interested in this game, to be honest, because like I quit playing for the last like 3 weeks. After they nerfed my final build, I was like, fuck that. I'm not playing. We're done until the next season. We're done. I literally went and played Fortnite for 2 weeks, basically. So, but so far, basically, they were like, I'm sorry, we won't do that again. We're going to give you guys early patch notes for things that are for sure going to, whatever. The Friday before the patch happens, we're going to have a campfire chat. We're having one next week. Like, that's pretty much the gist of it. Basically, we're going to tell you guys everything. There's not going to be no more surprises, okay? We promise. We're sorry. Yeah, nothing else I want to play. It is a good game. I will say it's a good game. I just don't want to waste my time.
We're
going to keep watching them.
Right. Of which Diablo 4 is one.
That's true.
Pardon my grammar. And so we're going to be increasing the density in Nightmare Dungeons substantially. And
I like dense mob packs
in Helltide as well. Now, with the Nightmare Dungeon changes across the board for Nightmare Dungeons, all Nightmare Dungeons will get more dense. The Helltide change, there are certain areas of Helltide that are extremely dense, right?
Yep.
Like the tar pits, for example, is very dense. Areas like that probably won't get more dense. And part of what we've been doing here at the same time in terms of these density changes is making sure that we're making performance improvements, like looking at player skills that are taking a lot of time on the servers, getting those into better performance, so players have better frame rates and stuff, and fewer stalls, and all these kinds of things that make the game more fun to play. And this also helps us increase the number of, like, more monsters, more players, more stuff going on. And we know that the density in Nightmare Dungeons in particular needs to go up. And so we've been working on that to make sure that we can accomplish that. So density in Helltide will go up, not uniformly. Density in Nightmare Dungeons will go up uniformly, and these will be substantial increases.
Yep.
I like that.
Which I know players have been talking about constantly.
Yeah. Helltide's
wanting additional density.
Jesus Christ.
Rightly so.
D4 Twitter is fucking nuts right now, by the way,
Right
chat.
now is inventory concerns. We've heard from players. I know we've talked about gems and so forth actually becoming materials in Season 2, which to help out with some inventory concerns specifically. I know you guys have information, at least in regards to stash, and what might be coming in 1.1.1.
Yes. So certainly the gem change is still coming in Season 2, like you said.
I don't think that change should
But,
take a whole 2 seasons.
We need more stash help now, right? And so in 1.1.1, we're going to be adding an additional stash tab for players, so they can store more aspects.
Okay, so cool. All right, we do get a new.
Yeah,
all right,
this has been like an ongoing conversation every week inside the dev team of like, do we feel that we're ready to do this yet? do we feel that we're ready to do this yet? Like the density conversation, and the
Yeah.
stash tab conversation, like.
Honestly,
you know,
okay, so
very
here's my
keen
thing.
working-
Here's my thing about stashes, okay? Here's my thing about stashes. You guys can tell me, Captain, you're fucking stupid. Get the fuck off. Get, you know, whatever. You're a shitty streamer, whatever you want. It's fine. It's whatever. Okay, look. I think my personal opinion is that the Eternal stash tabs, you should get one extra stash for every season that you play. You shouldn't have to earn it. It should be something that you just get at the end of the season when you roll into the new season. Okay? Outside of like the top, we're talking like 2% chat. We're talking like the top 2%, maybe the top 5%, like those elitist people, those elitist content creators. We're talking about like Rax. We're talking about like DM Diablo. We're talking like Asmongold. Like those, like so we're talking about like, that's what they do all day, chat. That's what they do for a living, chat, is to do nothing but content create for whatever game they like playing at the moment, okay? Or even randomly content create on all sorts of shit, okay? Okay, all right. Those are the people that are probably going to complain about stashes, okay? Everyone else is probably going to play, like, this game is built for the common man, okay? It is built for the common gamer. It is not built for the 5%. That's one of the things that I like the most about it, okay? So, with that said, I really didn't have a whole lot of stash issues last season. If you did, you needed to start cleaning shit out, okay? All right? Okay? All right? You don't need to collect every unique, that's fine. You have one for gems, you have one for aspects, you have one for maybe different sets of gear, and you have one for more gear. Okay? Yeah, right. No reason to be a pack rat, right? Okay? You can even there's even enough space in there for like the common gamer that's going to play this game like 2 hours a day or whatever, okay? To even have enough bag space for like 2, maybe even 3 characters. You're not going to make more than 5, okay, in a season. All right? I mean, I guess you could probably do 10, but you're probably not going to do that either. More than likely, you're going to play 1 tune, maybe 2, and you're going to get to the 80s, and then you're going to call it done. Like, that's going to be, I'm telling you guys now, that's going to be 90% of everybody. You're going to get to the 70s and 80s, and you're going to say, okay, this character is done. Done. Thank you, M4. I appreciate you, bro. Done. And then you're just going to either, one, wait for the new season, or that's where you are with your content. You might try a hardcore character there at the end, and when your hardcore character dies, you're going to be out skis. You're going to wait for the next season. That's how the general gamer, and I'm not talking shit because that's exactly what the fuck I'm going to do, okay? That's exactly, I'm telling you exactly, I'm going to level, okay, come back and see me in 90 days. I'm going to have a rogue and probably a barbarian. Those are the 2 classes that I'm most interested in this season. A rogue and the barbarian somewhere in the 70s, maybe 80s. I might have one in the 80s, one in the 50s at the end of the season. And I might be trying a hardcore character right before the next season. We're going to get nerfed and I'm going to quit for a week or 2 weeks. That is the most likely scenario. That is going to be the common person that plays the full season. That's kind of how that's going to go, okay? All right? We're not all going to be like Rax. Why are they so nerf happy anymore? Okay, so Matt, all right, here's my personal opinion, man. Here's my personal opinion. The question is, why are they so nerf happy anymore? Okay, Blizzard has always been nerf happy about everything. World of Warcraft, Diablo 2, Diablo 3, no different in Diablo 4, other games that they've produced, Overwatch, Call of Duty, like they nerf things. That's what they do. They make a character and there's so many synergies. There's some fucked up fucking math brain nerd like Rax that comes through and makes a 20 bajillion digit ultimate Hammer of the Ancients barbarian and one-shots Lilith with no phases. Like, what the fuck? Okay, here's my theory. The whole point of the current nerfs that they just had, okay, is to slow us down so you get more playtime. Okay? And it's the 3 people that we see on the screen right now are peons to the people that I'm telling you that are polling the streams currently. Okay? They are peons to the people that I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about upper management, board members, stock shareholders. Those people are saying we would like to see more revenue, hence Battle Pass, and 2, more people playing the game. So we want to see more people streaming the game. We want to see more people playing the game. We want to see playtime. We want to see levels, interactions. We want to see everything. We want to make sure your game is actually what you say it is. So they want to slow us down. I'm still going to be able to get that 84 and that 82, that 76. I'm probably still going to get those 2 characters in. I just might not have time to get the hardcore in. Or if I do, I'm only going to have just enough time to get that hardcore in, and I'm going to die right before the next season starts. The whole point is to slow us down so we play the entire season, at least a couple nights a week. And it's purely a financial decision. It has nothing to do with the game or the players. These people that are calling those shots, in my opinion, don't have time to play these games, and the games are probably beneath them, to be honest. We're talking about bankers and people with money that are trying to... We want to make sure the video game is actually good, so we want you to skew the numbers. Okay? That's my personal opinion. Take it for what it is.
Really, really hard to be able to like make these adjustments possible for us. Like there's more that we're doing. You know, this is now a never-ending conversation of like what else can we do and what else can we be doing to try to improve the experience. But like we've definitely heard these 2 concerns, and we're just really happy to be able to bring them in as early as 1.1.1.
Yeah. Oh, and I should mention that along with the stash tab, we're making a small change to Elixir stack size. We're going to bring that up to 99.
Oh yeah, okay,
so
that's
that'll
good.
help a little bit.
Awesome. Obviously, like with new starts to season.
Matt says they sound like they like the bosses that make decisions for the day today. I have no idea what really goes on day to day. Mad. I don't know what you do for a living, but I'm sorry to tell you that's how the world works, buddy. That's how the world works. That's how the world works. I'm so sorry to bust your bubble, but that is exactly how the world works. Typically, upper management has no fucking clue about how or to do anything. And, okay, yeah, good. So I'm an engineer. You're in pharmacy, I'm an engineer. Yeah, so they have no fucking idea, bro. Yeah. Yeah, glad to see another professional in chat. Yeah, so upper management... I mean, I guess that's in trades as well. So if you're blue collar, white collar, yeah, God bless America. Well, so I have a theory. And this probably goes for most professions. If you guys are into this type of shit. So where do failed professionals go, Mad? Anybody on YouTube? Anybody on YouTube have a guess? Where do the failed engineers? Where do the failed engineers or the failed lawyers go? The failed professionals? Where do the fail? You're a tradesman for 20 years and then you just suck. Where do they typically go? Management. They go to management. Yep. So they can't fuck anything else up. Yep. Facts. You can quote me on that, clip that, whatever you want to do, post it on the web. I'm telling you. That's it. All right, so we're talking about stashes here. So talking about stashes.
And if we do have these types of changes that occur within the patch that may change, whether it's the meta or the balance of specific things, there's been questions related to respecs and how that has been pretty expensive on people's like their own personal economies with gold and so forth. I know we have respec changes that are also coming with the game itself. You guys probably know more specifics.
Oh, this could be good.
Yeah, I mean, this really goes back. Joe was talking about our commitment to choice earlier, and it also, but I think it also goes back to when we say in the mission statement we want to have a wide variety of viable builds. great. But if you can't switch between those builds, then it still feels punishing,
Yeah.
right? So we're going to bring respec costs down by about 40%, quite a bit.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it should help out with people that want to switch over to a different build and so forth, or they do have
Okay.
to adjust over to another build. They get the option of actually being able to do so, or have an easier option of being able to do so.
And that'll be in 1.1.1.
And that'll be in 1.1.1 as well. So, and then I know, lastly, like one big thing is, you know,
So
as
coming
players kind
week
of
after
progress
next?
through the game, and the leveling curve kind of goes through, especially like post like 70 or so. We've been looking at you know, the player journey and how they've been getting up to 100. I know there's some changes that you guys are looking at in terms of like experience and so forth from that end.
Yeah, I mean, the short version is we want to make leveling from 50 to 100 faster by adjusting XP. I don't know if you have...
Oh, they're gonna make it faster?
I was realizing I was
They're
talking earlier
what?
about the change we made. Obviously, we also made the change to XP gain when fighting creatures above your level, and I failed to mention this discussing it.
Yeah.
So the original intent for that was we found players basically sitting at like fighting creatures like 3 levels above them and never felt like they were really challenging themselves beyond that. We wanted to stretch that out a bit further, but that went from, you know, a 25% bonus to a 15% bonus. And we knew that density changes were coming online, so we thought about this a little bit. But you know, I read a lot of feedback, like afterwards in particular, that just made it sound like people thought that we were just trying to make the game take longer, which wasn't actually the goal.
Oh.
But realized that the 25% to 15% change did constitute a nerf. As a result, that is the thing that we're thinking about as well.
We are not trying to slow down the game.
No, and to that point, like we had a vision for how we have.
Well,
a vision for
fuck
how long
me
we
and
want
call
the
me
game to take
Sally.
For players. We realized that it's
I'll
taking
be
a little bit
damned.
longer than that, than what our vision was originally for a lot of folks that are leveling up, particularly when they get to certain parts of the game, like, you know, when they're.
I did notice that like
So
72
we are looking to
last
really,
season.
to readjust the XP rates for those areas, because we aren't looking to like have you hit this absolute brick wall when you hit like level 70 or something, right? Like there's not like these moments where you're going to feel like you just can't.
I swear I haven't seen this
survive.
before.
Like, you know, we don't want you to have this feeling that you just can't make meaningful progress, that we're just artificially holding you back. That's never been the vision or the goal, right? It ended up working out that just, it wasn't, the players weren't as earning XP at the rate that we had originally expected is what it really came down to. So these are, like, we are making changes in this regard to kind of bring this down a bit. Yeah.
And I mean, you've seen, certainly we did things like increase the XP bonus for Nightmare Dungeons a while back quite substantially.
Yep, and Whisper Completion, Helltide
Right.
chests. Yeah.
Now, notwithstanding that, there are changes to XP related to addressing, you know, the power leveling case, because we don't have like group up, have fun with your friends, like power leveling each other. The only case that we think is not very fun is the case where one person is standing at the entrance to the dungeon and the other person is having all the fun killing monsters.
Yeah.
And so, you know, when we look at the
that's
balance of the XP changes in 1.1.0, we think that additional changes need to be made to make the game faster, especially between 50 and 100.
Yeah, we want
Exactly
level
as you
1 to 100 to feel like an achievement, but not like a job.
Yeah.
Right. So like we want to make some adjustments, make sure that it feels fun, very achievable. Obviously,
I will definitely say after like level 80, it was a job.
But yeah, so we are going to make some adjustments. We'll be talking about more probably next week in
Yeah.
terms of with more specificity.
Yeah, soon, very soon.
Yep. So again, we'll be back on stream next Friday to talk about all the details of the changes, including the barb and like sorcerer changes that Joe had mentioned, along with other changes that we are preparing right now for the patch itself. That patch itself is supposed to be hitting in the next couple weeks. Obviously, if we're doing the stream on Friday, it means it's coming pretty darn soon for after that stream. So, but we did want to make sure that we got in front of players to actually talk to them about everything, and we plan on doing that going forward if we ever have one of these larger patches that actually make some pretty significant changes to the game. We'll either get in front of you guys via stream, or we'll end up posting about them earlier so that you guys get a better idea.
No, I definitely think you need to do both, bro.
For those, I know that we do want to take some questions, a bunch of questions actually from chat and so forth.
Okay, here we
I
go.
know one big question that has always kind of come up has been about leaderboards and so forth within, and the expectation of when those might be coming in. I know that.
So like the top
ideally
5%
we're
player base
aiming
is what?
for
Who's asking
season
about this?
3 for the leaderboards in itself. I don't know if you guys have any like additional information or like additional insight onto those from your end.
Yeah, so one thing that's really important to us for leaderboards in Diablo 4 is that we don't think that like tying this directly to Nightmare Dungeons or content type exactly like that is going to make a lot of sense because the variety of the nature of the system. So we want to make a content type that kind of partners directly with leaderboards so that you can be judged in kind of like this kind of more even playing field when you're going through that experience. But that is content that we are actively in development on and are excited to try to get ready for Season 3. So we're going to be making, I'm sorry, the short answer to this is, so we set up our competitive feature. We are making a specific content type that goes alongside that you're judging yourself against, and we're looking for Season 3 for that.
Question.
Wow. Okay. Season 3 for leaderboards.
You stupid walrus. Is Uber Uniques? What's the future? They mathematically don't exist, so I don't think it's a good waste of resources of them anymore.
Sorry, I was really distracted by the walrus.
Okay.
Can you read the question again?
Uber Uniques.
Oh, right.
What's the future? They mathematically don't exist. So I don't think it's good to waste resources on them.
Okay, all right. Before he begins talking, so I think the whole idea here is that eventually, if you continue to play the game, that you will find them, and if you continue to play seasons, eventually you'll have one character at level 100 in the Eternal Realm. So remember, you get to keep that gear from the Eternal Realm. So basically, you will just be building your Eternal Realm, right? That's how you're. So sure, like the Shaco is super rare, and that's basically best in slot at the highest level for like every class where it was last time I checked. So you're gonna need a lot of those, but eventually you'll find all these super uniques. The problem is that you have to be in level 85 dungeon plus. If you're not in level 85 dungeon plus, which you're more than likely only going to be in for the last like week or two of the season, you're never going to find them. So for those that are the common person that they play like an hour, let's say 10 hours a week, if a season is 3 months long, so what's that, 12 weeks? So they play 120 hours, like, you need to be able to get to level 100 in 100 hours of gameplay, easily. In 100 hours of gameplay, you need to be able to get to level 100 on one character. That's the completion of one character. So like most of these people that play for 12 hours a day, they're gonna be able to get like 3 or 4 in the first month, and then pick whichever one they like the most, and they're gonna just min-max the whole fucking thing and farm the shit out of those uniques. That's like, if you're top 5%, that's what you're doing, okay? So I don't think the purpose is to farm all of them in a single season, just to be clear. Let's see what Joe says.
Yeah, that's a good question. So, Uber Uniques are designed such a way that they are a huge spike of power, and we're receiving feedback, and we understand the feedback on some of them, but they represent a huge spike of power, and as such are not expected to be part of builds necessarily. One of our goals underlying is we don't want players to feel that one of these are mandatory, that you must find in an effort to bring your build online. From the ground up, we kind of made the decision to say it is okay if we want players to find these, but we don't want them to expect to find these. Which is a difficult place to balance in terms of drop rates when you're thinking about these. Now, right now, I believe that they are exceedingly rare, and we do want them to feel very, very rare. But I suspect that as we start moving into future seasons, we do want to find more ways for players, or more opportunities for players to get chances at these. And I imagine we'll be able to talk about that soon. But I would suggest that like the current drop rates are probably not going to be the drop rates forever. We'll probably make those a little bit more common, a little more likely to be found as time goes on.
Or find a way to like magic
big
find.
Topic that I'm seeing just pop up in chat and so forth. A lot of comments about crowd control and if there's any plans or ways that we're looking at addressing crowd control here in the future.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier in the stream, or well, I think we both talked about it. We think that when you have high density of monsters on screen, and you have a lot of elites. The crowd control, the tools that you have for crowd control are not...
Yo, thank you so much, man. Thank you for stopping in, bro.
need to be better, basically. And some of that is going to be adjustments to things that feel unfair, and some of that is going to be tool adjustments in terms of the tools. I think that we'll be able to, this is something that we'll be able to speak more to in terms of specifics and how we're going to address that, but we agree it's a problem in the future.
Question from I'm so bad. I tried. I'm so bad.
Welcome to the streaming world, broski.
When will loadouts be added?
Pronounce this shit.
Yeah, it's a feature that the UI team is very excited about. It's something we've talked about a bit internally. We don't have a timeline for the idea of loadouts just yet, but it is something that we're continuing to actively talk about. When we have more information to share in terms of like when something like this could potentially be added to Diablo 4, I'm sure that we'll talk about it. Barag Zero says, what is the time frame on 111? It doesn't seem very clear. Is it before the middle of the season? How long do I need to wait for Sorcerer and Barbs to have their changes and be playable? It is much sooner than mid-season. As I said, it's only like a couple weeks away, and by a couple weeks I mean like very, very soon. Like if we're doing a stream on Friday, I would expect it within a couple days after the stream. We have to provide some. If we say anything too specific today, production will choke us out. So we have to be very careful about the language we use. But yes, very soon.
Only because with patches themselves, of course, there are. We're on a lot of different platforms and everything, and of course those go through certification. If a certification gets pushed back or whatnot, then we obviously need to readjust schedules, so it's hard for us to actually put a specific timeline until that actually occurs. But very, very soon. BulbB79, are there any plans for some changes for experience between, say, level 75 to 100? This is actually something that we just commented on, but the journey feels a bit dull. There are several events, but only nightmare dungeons to provide challenge. World bosses, Helltides, and Whispers are a good idea, but just too easy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's so we talked about. So I guess there's two real parts of this. Like are we making changes to the XP progression for players while they're moving through, like World Tier 4 in this case? And the answer is yes. We are going to be looking at making changes to that, and we'll talk more about that soon. Mm-hmm. Secondly, do we feel that there are the right number of like milestones for players to engage with? Enough goals to kind of like consume while you're also just leveling up, and enough content to kind of do as you're leveling up in these world tiers. And I think that the answer is no. That we know that there's more things that we need to add to the game, particularly for World Tier 4. But really, just once you get into World Tier 3 and 4, just want to find more opportunities and more content and new things for players to do as they're leveling up through those spaces. And we do have plans for those things, and we do have thoughts on stuff we want to add in Season 2 in particular, and some things we're looking to continue to talk about moving forward. Yeah. But yeah, we recognize that there's more we would like to add to that journey to kind of create more variety and in more moments of challenge as well while you're progressing, and not just at 100, but all along the way.
Hodoc24 says, what are your plans to adjust loot drops? This I'm going to add on to his question after I read it. It feels very frustrating to grind for days without ever seeing anything close to an upgrade or finding the right aspect. Even worse, when you finally do it and it's a terrible roll. Slightly, I'm also going to modify that and mention target farming, which has also been a topic within the community. I'm not sure if you guys want to have any plans and so forth for that.
So I think there's a couple parts of this as well, right? There's the idea of I grind for a long time to get an item, and the item is not an upgrade. And particularly, when you're in World Tiers 3 and 4, where you start dealing with sacred items and ancestral items, where you're kind of dealing with this larger bucket of eye power range, this can certainly tend to be true, unless you're looking for specific kinds of affixes, you're looking for particular kinds of roles, right? So there's a couple things. One, we know we want to try to reduce the difficulty of kind of comparing and looking at a number of different items all at once and trying to get a better sense of that. These are things the UI team is very passionate about, and the conversations are ongoing in terms of how we want to achieve that. Like things like loot filters, things like that. There's the idea of how does the progression of itemization feel, particularly in World Tier 4, while you're leveling up there. and the systems team has ideas on things they would like to include. It's too early for us to say exactly, to like really like lay them all out just now. But there are ideas and things we want to do to kind of improve the feeling of progression through the ancestral tier, so that you feel like there's more thresholds and there's more opportunities to kind of get upgrades as you go. And then lastly, there's this idea of target farming. So legendary aspects are a place I think that we can afford to do more. We know that players are looking for certain aspects. They're trying to find certain things. They're trying to find particularly unique items. Is often the case, right? They want the Tempest Roar, whatever it is they're looking for. They're looking for that thing. We do have plans in season 2 right now to have more content you can try to target farm in order to find certain unique items. And I think there's a natural extension of that to figure out like what's the right way for players to be able to find an easier method of getting into some of the aspects they might be looking for as they're progressing through. So that is something that the rewards and systems teams will be thinking about and hopefully be able to talk about soon on stream.
Yeah, and I do want to note, like, I know we have an update here coming for 1.1.1, which we've just talked about, is in the next couple of weeks. There are going to be other patches before season 2 and so forth, with additional changes and items that we just haven't noted, and I just want to clarify specifically on that. We do have more patches beyond 1.1.1 before season 2 to address a lot of feedback that we're receiving from players and a lot of opportunities for us to actually do so.
Okay, so more changes, but hopefully not just overall
Can we
nerfs.
get some sort of matchmaking system to help with partying up with random people or group finders? I know we had talked about group finders before. I know this is something that the team has obviously received feedback about, like helping out with like the social systems and so forth within the game. It is being evaluated, I know, and the teams are looking at it. We just don't have an exact timeline of when those are actually coming in specifically from that end.
I guess that's his job to know that thing since he's...
Are there going to be changes with ARM? Oh,
Community director.
That was Andy for Man was the last question. Beanpot10 says, are there going to be changes with armor regarding survivability? Hardcore is almost unplayable on Sorcerer, with one-shots from corpse bows and low innate, due to low innate armor.
Yeah, I think survivability, especially on Sorcerer, is something that the changes that Joe was talking about that we'll be talking about in more detail next week is one of the things we want to include in that. We recognize that.
Yeah, we also identified there are a few outstanding monster types and abilities that are doing that are killing players a little more frequently than we expect, and like we're looking at like you know.
Wait. A monster was killing people a little more frequently than they expect. I wonder who the fuck he's talking about. Anybody have an idea? Butcher. I'm sorry, I had a little cough. Butcher. Yeah. 5 million kills in the first week post beta. 5 million kills. 5.5 or 5.8 or 5.2 or something. So over 5 million kills that fucking little mini boss had. Like, I want to know how many hardcore, like people that play hardcore but like see the butcher and just say, nope, I'm out.
Creatures that explode when they die.
Say his name.
Claim an awful lot of lives.
No.
Right?
Say his name.
Creatures that can chill. Claim an awful lot of lives. Right.
Or charging creatures. We've also learned.
And charging creatures. Yeah.
I've seen a lot of reports about that, and I know.
Butcher.
Which I think have been nerfed like twice now. Too,
Well, there was.
The butcher's been nerfed twice. So you out of your fucking mind?
On the Beast Charge in particular,
Bruh.
where Beast Charge could deal damage, even if you interrupted the charge or the beast died.
Oh, I see. So, well, that's a good bug fix. So, I mean, we're identifying some of these like really, really difficult affixes, really, really difficult Nightmare Dungeon affixes, or like really ones that claim lots, like a disproportionate amount of player lives as part of that. And we're looking at those all at once. It's Sorcerer survivability is absolutely an issue, and we're going to be talking about it more in the 1.1.1 conversation next week. But there's also this idea of like there's a lot of things out there that are just doing a lot of like what feels to the player in the moment pretty cheap, like unfair, like just I sort of just died, don't really see what happened. So we're looking at more of these situations and trying to figure out the right places to make adjustments. We don't want the game to be easy. We don't want you to be able to walk through every encounter, and we want the game to feel deadly at times. We want you to feel like you had an opportunity to kind of evade or deal with those situations.
In regards to someone, Zeus DNA says we'll be seeing the hotfix notes before the hotfix comes out today. Yeah, we'll get the notes up. The deployment hasn't started, and it's not starting until later this afternoon, but we'll get the notes up so that players can see it, and we'll be mentioning it so that players can actually read through them and so forth.
Right.
This is a pretty large hotfix in terms of like items that we're actually fixing and...
Okay, so
and the
we'll check that out after
that
this.
we had just talked about.
Yep.
Templar Knights asks,
Ask?
question, can we change the codex in such a way that we can upgrade the values with founded legendary items? This could reduce the demand to stash, avoid aspects laying around, easier adopting player tier balance changes, but we still want to find items and increase codex values.
Yeah, so we know that one of the key things that players are carrying in their stash right now are lots and lots of aspects.
Yeah.
And gems.
And,
Yes.
we're talking about ways to address that. That's an interesting suggestion. That I think it's sort of going toward the same direction here, which is like, how can we address the case where your stash is completely full of aspects? Certainly having an extra stash tab will not hurt that problem, but I think there's more that we'd like to do in terms of the aspects.
Yeah, it's certainly something we've been discussing internally for a while. I think part of this is just how much fun is it to be able to extract an aspect from an item and be able to maintain that role? And then how much is that fun so fun that it's worth like some of the inventory pressure that comes about as a result of that? Yeah. That's a conversation we've had within the dev team. We're going to continue to talk about it, but we know that there's definitely a lot of improvements we can make to the Codex of Power, for example, to kind of like be embracing some of these other like affix extraction systems.
Question from DRJ16. Has the team considered how certain nerfs like weapon cooldown reduction are so much more impactful for certain classes than others?
Yes, the team is definitely aware that some of these changes disproportionately affect, like the vulnerable damage change disproportionately affecting like Cold Sorks. There is. We're definitely aware that
he said it. He said it. Cold Sorks. No shit, bro. No shit. Cold Sorks get shit on every fucking time, bro. Yes, Cold Sorks just get absolutely fucking dog shit on. Okay, so the question specifically is about like messing around with the like percentages and things like that. That's like what they're trying to say. So like you can actually like, mathematically speaking, you can just buff a skill in a specific spot and add like 1 or 2%, and the whole build as a whole goes from like F tier to S tier, just because everything starts adding and then it starts multiplying and it just fucking balloons. Like going from say a 5 to a 6%. Like this damage, this thing does, it went from 5% damage to 6% damage. It's not a 1% increase, okay? You guys have to think about it like this. It's like a 20% increase because the way that the math rolls out on the other side. So just FYI, just FYI. Just FYI.
some of these changes disproportionately affect some classes and
Wait, and then second point there is, if you add 1% to weapon damage across the board, barbs and rogues are going to benefit greatly from that 1% weapon damage, whereas sorks and druids may not. But werewolf druids might, but elemental druids wouldn't. I don't know a fucking thing about elemental druids or druids in general, so just FYI. Okay, so just keep that in mind. All right, so more casty classes are not going to benefit as much from the increased weapon damage, but you will see more from melee classes like rogue barbarian, werewolf druid, things like that. Okay, all right. That's what this guy's asking.
And this goes back to my earlier point about when we're going to be making changes like this moving forward, that we know we're going to have this have an overall effect of reducing certain effects down, or rather reducing certain like powers or affixes or whatever it is, down to a place where we want people to use the baseline to kind of build from for other parts of the game. That when we do those things, it's going to affect these different players in different ways, and they're not going to enjoy that if we've ruined their build in order to try to weed the garden and get things in a better place.
No way!
Like we're going to be trying to do
You
a
think,
lot
Joe?
more situations where if
You
we're going
think?
to take a thing away, if we're going to update something where it's no longer going to be as valuable as part of your build, we want to provide a lot of other options as part of that.
Yeah.
Make sure we don't leave the build with a gaping like giant hole in it.
Yes,
as a result of
please.
the change that we've made.
Yes, please. Do not do that.
This is going to, again, it's going to mean that moving forward, when we're making like larger scale balance and tuning adjustments, we're going to do those a little bit more slowly as a result, in order to make sure that we're embracing all of these other like components to give a lot of options all at once when we make a change.
Yeah, it goes back to the change we had on the screen before, right? We're going to provide compelling alternatives
Yeah.
when we make those kinds of changes.
That's a punchy way to say it.
Punch away. Kennywa says, question, why did you guys increase the cast time on stuff like leaving dungeons? Feels like you're trying to slow down the game.
All right, with that, give me just 1 second. I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that. Hey, Pebbles, how are you?
By making us waste time for something that might feel useless.
Cheers.
We can look at that. We'll continue to evaluate that change. It's a fairly small difference. I know that in a
Crow, what's up, man?
ARPG, small amounts of time can.
Don't give a fuck. Let's go. How you doing tonight? Yo.
We did,
What's up, guys? How are we? How's my Koopas? We're just watching the campfire chat. We're almost done with it. And then apparently there's some patch notes that I would also like to go over, and then we're going to play some Diablo 4. Hopefully. Apparently there's going to be rolling out some changes like very soon, like shortly. And yeah, so just FYI.
we did add the reset dungeon button back in. It does require that you're outside the dungeon, and so there's kind of a loop there.
Loki5123 asks, are you going to add more than 6 or 7 items this season? Are there plans to add more? The feeling is they feel like they would want more items per season that are actually added in.
Yeah, we've always said that we wanted to take in the feedback from the players as we kind of got these seasons out the door. So season 1, we add the 30.
So Latte says something needs to happen with D4. The fucking skipping in FVF is ridiculous. So they actually did. Just ended your damn stream over it. They did address that in the campfire chat earlier. They said that they understand that some people I felt like he was saying by some people, meaning console players, were struggling specifically in like some Helltide places. And yeah, so struggle could be potentially real. Yeah. So just FYI.
32 Malignant Hearts, which I think have been pretty cool. Some we're going to be looking at the balance, some of them to kind of like lift them up, make them a little more exciting in some places. But broadly, we're pretty happy. They generally are. And then we have our uniques and our legendary items that we added with the season as well. I think if there is, if we see that there's like a lot of interest in trying to get more of these, we can start trying to think about how we can inject a few more legendaries into the.
Lattes, they're rolling out updates right now. That's part of the reason why we're watching this video and not. I did get the FYI They're rolling out updates. So it could be that there's updates, and that's the reason why it's a little laggy. You probably got like your updates rolling while you're playing.
The game with each season, a couple more uniques potentially in the game with each season, but we want to continue to see like kind of what the feedback looks like. This is a good example of people asking for more. So yeah, good to know.
You know, separately from that, like, are you guys looking at potentially like reworking or redoing some things?
So that means patch 1.1.1 is kind of in that vein of trying to like get these things into a slightly better place, and we do want to go back over our existing legendary power library and identify the ones where they can afford to be lifted up with redesigns and changing the way that some parts of them work, so they better fulfill the stated purpose in terms of where they're supposed to sit in builds. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities for that along the way as well. It's not going to be the only way we inject like new fun in the game isn't going to just be
banner.
The season mechanic isn't just going to be through the addition of brand new legendaries uniques, but also going back over the existing legendary powers after we see players use them a little bit more, making adjustments accordingly.
Question from Panda Mousy and Mormra. Same question, actually. What's your plan for resistances? Right now, they feel like a wasted stat. Do we have any changes to resistances that might be changing maybe sooner or later, or how's that going to work?
Resistances fall in one of those categories where if we need to make a change to the way that resistance damage is, or rather, the way that players use resistance to mitigate damage from certain sources. And it's going to be a far-reaching change when we actually go through and make this, which means that we want to be able to take the time with it and do it properly. It's going to be, right now we plan to put that into Season 2 as part of a larger rework. So you can look forward to more information as we get a little bit closer to Season 2.
Shadow Mun, sorry. Can campaign bosses be added to the pool of dungeon bosses that we encounter? I feel like campaign bosses are underutilized.
I
agree with that.
I think there could be more opportunities to fight some of those campaign bosses.
Yeah, let's go. I want to farm bitches.
I can't comment further on exactly what
Zora! Zora Games with 80 viewers? Yo, what a W right there. Holy shit. Zora Games with 80 viewers. Holy shit. How are we, Zora? Thank you so much for that. Thank you for the raid. Thank you. Well, let's wait for Zora to come in. Welcome in, Raiders. Yo, how was your stream? How was your stream? Let me make sure you're following. Let me make sure you're. I'm following you. There we go. We got you. I got you. How was your stream? What were you playing? Welcome in, Raiders. My name is Caldwell. This is a mature stream led by an immature streamer. I'm the immature streamer. My chat can be a little trolly. Sometimes they're quiet. It was super good. Played some Diablo. Yo, let's go. Played some Diablo. We are currently just reviewing. The campfire chat from earlier. So far, so good. Basically, they're pretty much saying we're going to revert all the changes that we made and hold fast for updates because it's coming soon. And we're deeply sorry. I am so sorry. That's basically what they're saying. We'll get back at it. Welcome in, Raiders. I hope you guys enjoy this content. We're gonna finish this, which is there's another maybe 10 minutes or so of the Q&A, and then we're gonna go check out the patch notes that they should have just posted, and then we're actually gonna play some Diablo 4 hopefully tonight. All right, here we go. Play.
Look, but I agree with that sentiment.
Sounds good. Okay.
Joe has often said this, so like we definitely want to make sure we find the right ways to bring act bosses in. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So some of you guys that played like D2 and I guess even D3, in D2, like that's what you did was you beat the game, normal nightmare than hell. Then you basically just farmed either one mini bosses, level 85 dungeons, or like act bosses. Over and 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 over again. Specifically, like Mephisto and Bale were two that, and Diablo, but Mephisto, Bale, and Diablo were like the three that, well, Nightmare and Dario got a lot of attention for her Sojo drop, which is like a +1 all skills ring if you guys didn't play Diablo 2. But anyway, so I would really like to see that, which we don't currently see that I'm aware of. You can't actually refight act bosses. There's not like a dungeon or anybody that you go talk to or whatever. I think that would be really cool that we could go back and fight act bosses. But
A question, Party Cannon 30. Hi there, guys. Can you? Thanks for the information. My question is about crashes on PlayStation 5. Is that a known issue? We are aware of some issues on consoles, specifically Xbox, PlayStation, like maybe having crash issues and whatnot from their side. I do want to note, like I know with 1.10, there was a bug fix towards a specific memory leak that the team was trying to identify and find, and they actually did find it, and it was addressed there. There was actually an additional fix in 1.11 because I've seen a lot of questions, whether on Reddit and so forth, about PC performance and so forth, and even on like just performance in general.
We had a hard time with it as well.
There, and I know that the engineers here are still actively, troubleshooting and figuring out like specific situations that players might be running into. Of course, if you have like more information on those, please post in console bugs on our forums, and give as much information as possible, because a lot of those repro steps on our side are sometimes really difficult, and it helps our teams out, helps our QA teams out to be able to see if they can actually repro the same type of issues that players are having. Do you guys plan on introducing more ways? Oh, sorry, this is Mr. I don't want to butcher that. Okay. Do you guys plan on introducing more craft / modify gear? Currently, only gold has value, and only one stack can be rolled.
More ways to craft and modify gear.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, we do want to add more options for players to kind of modify the items they're getting.
I'm doing well, Pebbles.
Really in the preseason and now.
How are you?
One stage, it's still very like a baseline experience in terms of item modification. We are looking at more opportunities in the future to allow players to do more with their items. So yeah, that is a plan for the future.
The Almighty Striker says, why does the Necrominions why do they take ability slots? It could be easily a different button. How many
he knows!
Necrominion builds have beat Uber Lilith?
Yo, Gamers Day, what's up?
Is there we already answered the drop rates for you.
What is up, he knows? Thank you so much for that sub, broski. Thank you so much for that sub. I appreciate you, my guy. Thank you so much. How was your stream, man? How was your stream? We just got a total W host from Zora Games. She totally came in with a W host.
Uniques and so forth. That was the second part of the question. But I guess the question mostly is about Necromancer minions and ability slots. Also, I saw other questions related to companions, whether they're druid companions with wolves or Necromancer minions.
Moist Koopa panties. Happy Friday, guys.
Potentially get a little bit more tweaked up.
Yeah, this is something we do care about. One of the things that that sounded dismissive.
Yeah, we care about a lot of things, but go on.
I was just trying to get to another point, which is there's some really cool stuff in some of the Bleeding Hearts that affects this, in terms of like kind of getting credit for additional abilities.
Yeah.
And we do care a lot about the number of the sort of like ratio of ability to number of slots that it takes up, and making that as optimal as possible.
Yeah, that's right. We want to make sure that if you're going to play a Necromancer and you're going to summon skeletons, that you are going to be. I mean, that takes up that's the weight of an ability. Like it's the same as having an active. You need to like playing with it. It's going to take a little bit of space in your bar. You don't get that in addition to a bunch of other things. If you don't want to have skeletons on your bar right now, the idea would be sacrifice a lot of those skills in order to give you that extra space.
Yeah, but skeletons suck right now.
The viability of like minion builds at various parts of the game. There are some builds that are able to like get pretty deep into content, obviously, but I think there's still room for improvement.
Okay, so for you guys that have played like Diablo style games or whatever, you haven't really played Diablo style games or MMORPGs or anything like that, I will tell you now that Necromancer and Rogue are like the two most played classes pretty much like anywhere. Necromancer, Rogue, specifically Necromancer with the deal Heart synergized with skeletons to give you free raise randomly. Oh, yeah, I don't know about that because I haven't actually played this season. I'm not gonna play Necromancer until they're like, oh my god, minion builds are fixed. Because, like, I play Necromancer, like, a Necromancer raises things from the dead, damn it. Like, fuck all the other builds, I don't want to play them. Even back in D2, I played a Skellymancer. That was, like, at the beginning of every single season, I played a Skellymancer because it was the easiest one to at least get to content in Hell and slowly progress through it. And then it bounces on your skill bar and randomly activates a skill every few seconds. It bounces. I'm gonna have to like see it. What's up, N4? What's up, broski? W stream, bro. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. W night, W content. Thank you, man. I appreciate you. So, like, a lot of my buddies have even wanted to play. Okay, here we go. So corpse, tendrils, or skeletons, whatever you have on your bar, has a random chance every few seconds to proc. Yeah, but if your skeletons don't ever die, they just don't do. The problem with skeletons is they don't do damage. They don't do damage. They do not do damage. What's up, DGT? What's up, man? How are we, fam? They do not do enough damage. Like, and honestly, okay, so at Diablo 2, you had basically unlimited summons. I think you, what's up, Captain? How are you? I mean, I'm doing great, bro. I'm doing fantastic, yeah, and die easily in-game. Yeah, exactly, which they shouldn't. They should not. It should be a viable build because Necromancer is one of the builds that is the most popular, and having it shit right now is not doing Diablo 2 any good. If there is a build that should be over fucking powered, it should be the Skeleton Mancer. It is a staple with these games. It's a staple. A staple. Staple with these games. So, unnerf it. Make it OP, damn it. It's like, man, I don't know. Anyway, they do have a lot of things they gotta fix. I agree. Yeah, of course.
In terms of like minion survivability and other conversations along those lines, that is something that's still happening. And then there was the other conversation, the question about druid companions, right?
Yeah, kind of similar to necromancer minions, and people were asking like, can that ever be a viable thing?
Yeah, I think possibly. We see players.
I think possibly,
run, like,
bro.
Companion skills and use that as part of the build that they'll go after for their druid. And I think that there's likely room here to do more with companion skills. Whether it rises to the full level of like a complete like spec, I think is going to be interesting. But I think.
Okay, so also keep in mind that if they like start adding gear in with like companion skill damage, like the companions add damage or whatever it is, they're gonna have to be careful with that because Sorks also have a companion build. It's like the Hydra, basically the Hydra build. Then you have the Necro builds, and then you also have Druid has a summon build, right? So don't think that it's not quite as easy as you think it is to just buff the I mean, of course I could just go into the skills and up those too, but then you don't want the, Necromancer's minion build to be like the best build either. I do understand that it is complex, but also it does need to be one of the best because everyone wants to play that build.
I think I know that there's people on the team that are very excited about trying to explore more of this side of the druid over time.
Yeah, because it was also shit in Diablo 2.
Interconnecting points for the way
minion build. What a fucking joke!
Right now, and the way that the skeleton army does for the necromancer, in terms of ways that you modify them and do more with them. So I think there's some groundwork we need to do to like provide a lot more options there, but something the team's interested in. Yeah.
I'm gonna do one last question here, which is, will there be better loot tables for like treasure goblins? Any alternate goblin types specifically for those?
Yeah, I think we loved how many.
So on the treasure goblin front, if you guys played last season or in the beta, treasure goblins aren't really like a big thing. They don't like spit a whole lot of loot like they did in Diablo 3. So, like they do, but it's useless. So what's the point? Just my thoughts.
You know, D3 has like all kinds.
All kinds of goblins.
There's like 10 different kinds of goblins, or 14 maybe. It's been a little while since I looked at that data. In the editor, but we think that there's lots of room for there to be more fun goblin types.
Yeah, because the goblins are fucking boring as
In
shit.
terms of the treasure goblins have a tendency to provide, we actually I had a conversation with the lead systems designer last week, talking about this. We are making we are buffing like legendary drop chance, for example, from items that will appear.
Good, because currently they suck, Joe.
To feel a little bit more exciting.
Fix your shit.
They drop.
Awesome. Cool. Well, I know we talked about a lot today. I just want to recap some stuff that we had mentioned today. Obviously, we've been hearing a lot of feedback regarding the patch, and you know we're telling you guys now that we completely hear you loud and clear. We don't plan on doing patches like this ever again, where we're not going to be essentially.
We're sorry, suck our
removing the
dicks.
fun and
That's
the
what I
player
hear.
Power from players drastically like this.
Yeah.
And if we ever do that for any type of class, like a build or whatnot, we'll make sure that there's always some really good alternatives for players to actually be able to try out a different build that will also be boosted way back up to kind of help out and give other options for players to actually kind of jump into. And you know, we will ourselves do a better job of course, communicating back to the community. Again, what we're saying now is that we will be getting patch notes in front of the community way earlier in advance, whether through a campfire chat or through like a blog of some sort or any type of communication, so that you guys can get a better chance at looking at patch notes beforehand, seeing any type of changes that might be coming down beforehand, because I think communication was key here. I think you guys not seeing what we were planning on doing and us kind of giving that vision really affected a lot of the response from you guys. And I think if we just provided that over to everyone and gave a little bit more of a heads up, I think it would have helped a whole lot there from that specific situation.
Well, also
Yeah,
keeping in mind. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think that's absolutely one part of it, and you were talking about it in a more full way, but I want to really make sure I hit on, like, one of the really great points of feedback that we've been seeing is like, why can you nerf things today and then buff things far in the future, right? And so what we're saying is, not only is there a change to communication, but we're also going to pair changes like that together, so that we don't have exactly the situation that players have called out as unfair.
Yep, most definitely. And of course, with 111 coming really soon, we are committing to another campfire chat next week, next Friday. Probably the same time, we'll confirm. More than likely it'll be 11 a.m.
It would be nice if I could actually do one of these
We'll end up
live.
posting about the details over the next week, so that just as a reminder to the community. And there we'll actually go through all the changes that we just talked about here into greater detail. Joe, I know, will end up providing greater detail changes on like the barbarian and sorcerer adjustments that we're going to be making based off of community feedback. And then, of course, we'll also be talking about just essentially everything in the patch notes for that. Patch 111 will be coming out in a couple weeks. With us having a stream next Friday, I anticipate it being very soon or shortly after the stream specifically. So, and again, we do have.
So I'm assuming Tuesday. Tuesday, we're probably going to get a patch.
That we will be rolling out this afternoon. We'll be having notes related to that hotfix here really soon, and there's a lot of changes in there, including the Nightmare Dungeon changes that we talked about today. So, again, thank you guys for the
So
feedback.
that's basically what that is. Let's see if they put patch notes in here. Let's see if they put patch notes. We'll talk about the patch notes too. Forums. Let's see. Gear. News. Here we go. News. Okay, so here's the patch notes. Here's the patch notes from 1.1.0. Let's see if there's anything good. Okay, 6 new uniques. We knew about these. Necromancer. Oh, the Oculus. Oh yeah, that's oh fuck. Okay, so here's another problem that we kind of have with. Here's another problem we kind of have. What's up, Missy Meow? How are we? So lidless wall is not new. That's not a new item at all. Okay, this is a. I don't know if this one was in Diablo 1, but it was in fact a major item in Diablo 2. Same thing with the Oculus. The Oculus was, I believe this one was in Diablo 1, and it was definitely in Diablo 2. Seven new legendary aspects. We're gonna play rogue, so oh, look at that! Every third class. Okay, right on. Anything for sort? Searing wards. It's a fire cast. What's up, MOB? See bug fixes, challenges, cooperative play, dungeons, gameplay. Let's see what they did to Rogue. Okay. Okay, so these are just bug fixes, general. $420 King Bong, what's up, man? Fix multiple instances where players could unnaturally teleport during boss encounters. So remember when we were playing? If you guys are here, well, hi, you're hi, King Bong. What's up, dude? Back in when we were playing the beta and also at the beginning of season 0, you would walk into a room and then teleport basically to the other side of the wall. I don't know if any of you guys were watching me when I was playing, and it irritated me a little bit. So I'm glad that's fixed. These look like just basic bug fixes. Hi everybody. Yeah, what's up? What's up, dude? Helltide in Fields of Hatred. Okay, so it fixed an issue where crackling injury would hit other players in Fields of Hatreds. We know, shocking. Yeah, how was the campfire? It was good. It was good. It was very informative. They basically said, I'm sorry, guys. We're so sorry. We won't ever do that again. We'll tell you ahead of time. We're so sorry. That's basically what they did. Yep. They said that multiple times that they were sorry and they would never do it again. They really ruffled the feathers. Diablo Twitter is fucked right now. No, it's good. It was good. It was good. It was very informative. Very informative. They know that Barb and Stork are fucked up right now. They're sorry about the patch notes. They're fixing a whole bunch of stuff. They're no longer going to dump patches like that ever again. They're going to have campfire chats from now on. It was good. It was good. The campfire chat was very good. It was very good. It was very informative. Let's see. Items and aspects. Okay, this is just... The level requirement for sacred items will now cap at 60. The level requirements for ancestral. Oh, okay. So basically there won't be any level 100. Okay. Monsters. Just fixed issues. Quests and events. These are all fixed. User interface. Just fixed issues, miscellaneous, loading screen updates, general. Okay, here we go. Altar of Lilith unlocks are now account-wide. Okay. Map discovery is now account-wide. Okay. Whispers will no longer reward sigil dust. That sucks. Overall loot quality has been significantly improved for Silent Chest. Okay. Channel time for a leave dungeon has okay, we knew that was coming, which I'm not mad about. It's 2 seconds. Come on. I think this is just like an FU to hardcore characters. I mean, my opinion. That's my opinion. It's like a don't use it as a crutch sort of thing. Reduce the tendency for many monsters to move around in combat so that melee characters don't have this chase down there. Okay. That's good. That's good. So they basically attract to the okay, that's good. Yeah! Added DualSense Edge wireless controller support for PC. Okay, so that means maybe our controller will actually function correctly with PC. That's let's hope. Renowned value adjustments. Oh, look at that. Side quests renowned up from 30 and dungeons are 40 now. Thank God. Okay, so they are making you do side quests again, and they are making you do dungeons again, but you'll do less of them because you'll do less of them. PS5 controller works now. Okay, I have a special controller. I have a special one. I have a green screen, so you can't see the whole thing. I've got like a special claw controller. It's called an Azeron Cyborg. You'll see it in a minute when we play. When we actually play, you'll see the. Yeah, you'll actually see. Yeah, I like those. Yeah, me too. Me too. It's definitely my favorite. It is colored green, so you can't really see it because I do have a green screen, so you can't. What can I say? All right. World tier 2 has the following bonus status: bonus gold. Okay, so they increase that. Monsters drop 15% more items. That's good. That's good. Level scaling in dungeons will begin to trail behind the player and level after a certain point. Okay, so I feel like this is okay. I think this is so like if you actually suck at the game. I feel like this is if you actually suck at the game, it's going to be harder for you to out level your gear. So the monsters, like you can't kill the monsters because your gear was good 15, 20 levels ago, but you suck at upgrading it. I think that's what this is. That's how I'm reading it. Chat. Level scaling inside dungeons and most overworld territories has been adjusted in World Tier 3 and 4. Monsters will begin to trail behind the player and level after a certain point, up to a maximum of 5 levels behind. So, like, that's so you don't out-level your gear, right? That's what I'm assuming. All right, World Tier 3. If the player level is below 55, the monster level is 55. Oh, okay, here we go. Here's, like, the standard. Okay, so 56 to 60 in World Tier 3, it's 55, 61 is... Okay, so on and so forth. So after 60, basically, you've out-leveled Tier 3. Or 55, you start, it'll be easy. World Tier 3 will be easier after 55. If the player is below 75, the monster is 75. Okay, and then it starts at 75 in Tier 4. Up to 82, which is probably going to be 82, 80 to 85 is roughly like where I was talking before. That's roughly where like I see people like the common gamer. I'm the common gamer, for example. I'm the common gamer. So that's where I see people like stopping they stop playing roughly there because the experience curve is so high. So take it for what it is. I don't like that's not all of you guys. That's not what I'm saying. For me, that's probably where like 80 to 85 is about like I mean, eventually there's going to be a season where I try to push all the way to 100 when there's a season that I really like, and it could be this season. I don't know. I could really like Rogue this season and push to 100. But I'm probably not going to get to 100 in a season unless they change something drastically. Like, make it really easy to level to 100, or begin, like, making it super easy to level to 100 when you get closer. Like, they take, like, a third of the experience off each month. You have let's say you have a 90-day season. It's really hard to get to 100 in the first 30 days. After 60 days, it's a little easier. And like the last month, you should be able to like power level characters pretty fucking easy. No problems. No problems at all. But we'll see if that ever happens. We'll see if that ever happens. They did say that they wanted to make things easier from 50 to 100. So maybe that's something that they could do, but also you have a greater chance of out-leveling your gear if you do things like that. So I can't tell you for, we'll see what they want to do. Let's see, experience. Preseason. We are adjusting bonus experience rewards for killing monsters higher than the player level. Oh, look at that. So so killing higher level monsters is beneficial. Postseason. Preseason. Oh, what? 1.5% bonus per up to 10 levels. Okay, so what? So they nerfed it. So they did make it harder. Because I was killing things 10 plus levels higher than me. That's what I was doing with my Sork. But I still felt like at like 72, 73, I hit like a brick wall. I hit a brick wall with experience at 72. And then another like brick wall was at like 80, 81, 82. And it just felt like I wasn't getting anywhere. Kind of the reason why I quit playing, because I felt like I wasn't progressing in the game. I was spending hours and hours in the game. Current world tiers, levels offset. For example, you're level 1, your friends. Yeah. Helltide. Ooh, 3 levels higher. Okay, so they did make Helltide monsters harder. 250 holy fucking shit. Which, okay. All right. In their defense, it should still be easy. We were farming like 750 plus aberrant cinders in a 1 hour time frame. So it's not that big of a deal. It's not that big of a deal. Dude, we're talking about 500. That'll take you 30 minutes. It's not a big deal. All interchangeable objects in Helltide zones now have a small chance of dropping. Okay, that's good. So you can actually, if you can't actually kill your enemies, at least you can search for them in like boxes and shit like that. The following balances updates apply both to the seasonal and eternal realm. Barbarian. Well, they need to fix that. Rogue. Druid. Rogue. Rapid fire duration increased from 3 to 5 seconds. Caltrip's speed. Okay. Buff, a buff. 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 Oh, wait, nerf. Nerf. Passives. I don't really see anything in here that's just nuts. I don't see anything in here that's just absolutely fucking disgusting. Everything is just basic balance changes. We're talking about... Well, wait. Now that's a big one right there. That's a 75% buff on an aspect. Shadow Slicer aspect. That's a big one. That means that was like super fucking holy shit. We'll have to check that out and see if maybe there's a build. That's a massive buff. That's a massive buff. Dodge chance. There we go. That's nice. Energy gain increased from 50 to 25, 20 to 30. I don't see anything. I don't see anything crazy. I don't see anything crazy. Let's see. Increase monsters' HP scaling from 85 to 100% per extra player and party. Whole fucking shit. Okay, so I think that's probably to prevent people from the dungeon grinding thing. They want people to play in packs. They don't want single lane, for example. Although 15% is not going to stop you when you're dealing 30-digit long numbers anyway. I don't see anything. I don't see anything wild yet. Oh, okay. Core stat bonuses on weapons have been overperforming, so we're pulling back on this bonus. So these are the things that they developer notes. Is that what they added? Yeah, okay. Well, resistances were also fucked in season 0. So keep that in mind as well. Cooldown reduction affixes often felt mandatory due to... Well, yeah, of course they're mandatory because they're overpowered. And by nerfing them, you're just going to want more. Or you're going to slow the game down. That's a massive... Fuck. Well, at least, like, the base stats... No, base stats on weapons. I don't agree with this. I do agree with the vulnerability nerf, though. I mean, I guess the cooldown reduction nerf. I mean, yeah. It does need to be more common on gear, but it doesn't need to be, like out of fucking control. So that's something to... I don't really see anything. So yeah, see a vulnerability, that's... Fuck. Vulnerability damage reduced by 40%. 40%. Imagine if you were hitting like 1 mils with an ice orc, and now you're getting shit on... I gotta plug my phone up. Now you're getting shit on by this nerf right here. 40%. So if you were hitting 1 million, now you're hitting 600Ks. like that's a big like vulnerability damage. Like that is like, because it's so multiplicative, right? The multiplicative aspect of vulnerability damage just, and then they nerf the shit out of it. Fuck, man. Fuck. Absolutely destroying. Critical strike damage on swords reduced. Fuck. Vulnerable damage on crossbows. Minus 65%. Damage to frozen enemies. Minus 20. Fuck. Ice Orc. Get fucked, bro. Get fucked. I'm so glad we're playing Rogue this season. I'm so glad we're playing Rogue. Look at all of those. Physical damage. Okay, so all right, okay. So that's not too bad. Cold damage increased by 25%, but frozen enemies minus 20. So it's gonna balance out. It's gonna balance out. This seems like to be like a rebalance. So it doesn't seem like they don't want the vulnerability to be stacked. They want you to have both. So you can't quite be as OP at the peak. So you have to have both stats, so they kind of... I mean, that's kind of what... That's how I'm kind of like doing the math in my head, if you guys are paying attention. Trap skill, weapon skill, werebear, werewolf. Total armor reduced by 30%. Fuck, man. Fuck. That is, ouch. That's bad. Golly. Like, druids can't take that. Druids are so shit anyway. They're super fast, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't think any of these are gonna... Those are all old anyway. So... We'll see if there's anything else. Like, I really want to see them have view all patch notes July 20th. I mean, they did say that they would be rolling something out tonight, but I don't see it. I don't see it. All right. We're going to go ahead and boot the game up. We're actually going to play. So again, we are playing Rogue. We are playing Rogue. Nope, I don't want to play Fortnite. We are playing Rogue this season. Let me stop this recording. We are playing Rogue this season. And we'll see how it goes. We're just gonna roll with it, man. We're just gonna roll with it and see how well. I think I'm gonna really enjoy Rogue. I think it's gonna be fast paced enough to where I'm gonna have to be, loose with it. We are already level 6, which is good. I do want to see if I can fix the game here. Properties. Unlock. That's not really going to work. Give me just a second. What's going on with this? What? Chrome. There we go. I don't know why it's being stupid. I'm so sorry, chat. Give me just a second. What the fuck, man? We're just gonna leave it. We're just gonna leave it right there. All right. We're gonna leave it right there. All right, so you guys can see the hand cam here. So where were we yesterday? We didn't. I didn't stream the first part. Let's see if we can figure out what we were gonna do. We are going to. Well, fuck, it's already 6 o'clock. How long have we been streaming already? 2 hours. I think actually before we actually get into the game, I think I'm actually gonna call it. I do have some stuff to do that I have to get to. So we're gonna try to find somebody to raid. Really quick. You guys will probably not see me tomorrow. But remember, we do have a big Fortnite tournament on Sunday. I'm probably going to just play Diablo 4 offline. We have a big Fortnite tournament on Sunday. Don't want to miss that. We're probably going to play for VIP and OG badges, at least to start. Let's see. Right now, Guardian Hammer is the current. Perfect. We'll host Guardian Hammer. Host Guardian Hammer. All right. Love you guys. As always, Captain. Wait, hold on a second. I have to do my song now. So we're gonna go see Guardian Hammer. I'm gonna actually pull him up. What is he playing? It looks like he's playing games. I'm gonna pull him up and see what he's playing. It looks like he's playing games. Guardian Hammer. Let's see. Guardian Hammer. Oh, he's playing Valorant. He's playing Valorant. Oh, he's just killed a guy. Look at that. So we're gonna go see Guardian Hammer. I love you guys. As always, Captain out.